Samsung might be planning something unexpected with the Galaxy S26, and it could change everything, especially the price. According to a fresh leak, the upcoming Galaxy S26 might be powered by a new version of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 processor. But here's the twist: this chip might be manufactured by Samsung itself, instead of TSMC. This rumor has been floating around for a while, and now a well-known leaker, Digital Chat Station, has added more fuel to the fire. They claim that the Samsung-made version of the Snapdragon chip, identified by the model number SM8850S, is still in development and hasn't been cancelled. On the other hand, the regular version of the chip made by TSMC goes by the model number SM8850. So, what's the big deal about Samsung manufacturing this chip? Well, cost. According to the leak, the Samsung-made chip would be cheaper to produce than the one made by TSMC. And if that happens, Samsung might be able to lower the cost of the Galaxy S26 series or at least avoid a price increase. Now, this is potentially great news for customers. We all know flagship phones are getting more expensive each year. If Samsung can cut down on costs by using its own manufacturing and pass on the savings to customers, it could be a smart move, of course. There's a catch: Samsung's chip-making history hasn't exactly been smooth. In previous years, Samsung-made chips have struggled to match the performance and efficiency of those made by TSMC. People have often complained about overheating, lower performance, and higher battery drain on Samsung-manufactured processors. That's why some users might be worried about the quality of this chip, even if it's more affordable. That being said, Samsung has been working hard to improve its chip manufacturing process. There's a good chance that the Samsung-made Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 could close the gap and perform just as well as the TSMC version. If Samsung pulls it off, it would mean solid performance at a lower cost. The interesting part is that this chip might not just be limited to Samsung phones. Other brands like Xiaomi and Honor might also consider using this cheaper Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip in their base flagship models. This could help keep prices stable across the Android ecosystem, especially in markets where pricing is a big concern. But this isn't the only chip Samsung is working on for the Galaxy S26 series. There are also rumors about Samsung using its in-house Exynos 2600 processor for some models. This shows that Samsung hasn't made its final decision yet on which chip will power which version of the phone. We could see a mix of processors depending on the region, similar to what Samsung has done in the past. At the end of the day, what users really care about is performance, battery life, and thermal management. Whether it's a Samsung-made Snapdragon, a TSMC-made Snapdragon, or the Exynos 2600, the chip inside should deliver smooth performance, stay cool, and offer good battery life. If Samsung can hit that balance, it'll be a major win for the Galaxy S26. Meanwhile, it's hard not to compare Samsung with Apple. Apple has been designing its own chips for iPhones for years, and they consistently deliver excellent performance and efficiency. Samsung seems to be moving in a similar direction, trying to gain more control over the hardware by making their own processors, or at least manufacturing them in-house. So the big question is, would you be okay with the Samsung-made Snapdragon chip if it meant a lower price for the Galaxy S26? Some might say yes, as long as it runs smoothly. Others might prefer the proven performance of TSMC chips. It really depends on what Samsung can deliver with its final product. In the end, all eyes are on Samsung. The Galaxy S26 is shaping up to be a very interesting release, not just because of the usual upgrades in camera or design, but because of what's inside. If Samsung can offer solid performance while keeping the price down, the Galaxy S26 could be one of the most competitive flagships next year. We'll have to wait and see whether Samsung goes with its own manufacturing for the Snapdragon chip, sticks with TSMC, or uses a combination of both. Either way, let's hope Samsung makes the smart decision not just for themselves, but for the millions of users who rely on their phones every day. Fingers crossed for a Galaxy S26 that's fast, efficient, and more affordable.